HardParkingPodcast, brought to you by Right Honda out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I am the host. I am your voice, Jay Finney. Coming up in a few minutes, I'm going to be joined by Monique and Edgar Milan, founders of the Arizona Adventure Group. What they've been able to build over the last few years is simply amazing here in the state of Arizona, and you're going to learn about not only how they did it, but their mindset going into it, and how are they keeping people engaged. And as one of the founding members of the One Auto movement, I can say that I am low-key jelly of how they've been able to grow and keep this thing going. I had some car news for you guys today. I wanted to talk about the new Z06 reveal and a few other things, but the conversation I had with Monique and Edgar was so amazing. I'm going to give that to you guys instead. I do have a random thought I wanted to throw out. It's been a while since I've done a random thought of the week, and I think about this all the time when I'm driving, especially at night. But it's this thing that I do every time I see the taillights of a Dodge Charger or Ford Explorer, I automatically think it's an unmarked police car. And it's kind of weird because we don't have a lot of unmarked police cars that are rolling around in those two vehicles. In fact, I'd say that most of our unmarked vehicles in the area are not those two vehicles. But the more plain Jane trim they are, the more you give it pause. The more you slow down and start looking at the license plate, you're looking to see if they're rolling around in the steel basic ass wheels. And I'm a fan of both vehicles. I really like the Ford Explorer. Every Ford Explorer I'd ever rented, I really, really enjoyed. At least the trim and the color of the one that I rented. And I've thought about buying one at some point as my daily. And I said, you know what? No. Because I'd look like a police officer. And it sounds as if I don't like police. I love police. I've never really had bad issues with police. And the times that I have had with them, I have to remember that they are just that person. It's just another human being. But for some reason, I'm like, the stigma. I look like a cop car. Maybe it's because, you know how you used to be able to buy, you probably still buy, but people would just buy old retired cop cars. And you would always slow down because you'd see someone still kept that searchlight on the side of their car, but it was clearly not a police car anymore in service because it looked like shit. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that kind of association that it's like, I don't want any of that smoke. I also went over to Right Honda and met up with Joe as usual. So if you're used to the YouTube videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. I usually get out there when they get a new model and I do a video. And weirdly, those are my most watched videos on YouTube, which is kind of sad in a sense. But we went over the 2022 Honda Civic hatchback. So before we did the regular sedan, that video should be out at some point this week. And I'll tell you what I prefer between the two. Also, I want to throw in the fact that Right Honda is the main title sponsor of this podcast. However, I am in no way, shape, or form obligated to do any of these things. I enjoy doing them with them because I can go in and I can drive a new vehicle without having to fill out a bunch of paperwork. I don't have to fork over my driver's license, my car insurance, or worry about follow-up phone calls on sales leads because they want to see if I'm really interested in the vehicle that I just drove. I'm also not obligated to say whether I like the car. I don't have to say, wow, this is such a great car, man. This Honda Accord, this is the best thing since sliced bread. If I had the money, I would buy the car. No, I don't have to say that at all. If I could say, I don't like this car at all. I don't like it because this, and this. I don't lie about any of that stuff. But let's get to Monique and Edgar right after this word from 4Wheel Online. Jay Finning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. Their truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4Wheel Online. It's time for the social media highlight of the week, brought to you by the Cell Shop, an Arizona-based retailer that strives to be your destination of choice for wireless services. Visit them at cellshop.us. That's CELLSHOP.us. Monique, Edgar, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you for having us.
Of course. So full disclosure, Edgar is on my One Auto Council because he's such a fantastical person. And he's married to Monique because Monique keeps him in check and actually probably does 99% of the rest of the work. But that's okay.
You ain't lying.
That's usually how this works. I know that, especially you guys been together for a while. Tell us a little bit about you guys, and then we'll jump into Arizona Adventure Group.
Edgar and I have been married for 9 years, together 10 years. We are both, I'm a native of Arizona, so I have a strong love for my state, my home state.
I came here in 1992 from Colombia. Yep. So it'll be 30 years coming up next year. So, but I grew up in the outdoor world. So rivers, all that kind of stuff.
Coming from Colombia,
doing all that in Colombia. It was my thing. So
Tarzan over here. You didn't know that's his. That's another gig he has.
So people can't see this, but you recently just cut your hair, so you look like you just got out of the military now. But from what I've seen you in the past couple of years, you just kind of let it grow, and now I get it. You were kind of throwing back to the Tarzan days. I mean, it looked pretty cool. It kind of fit your personality, and I mean, it's hard getting used to this kind of baby face look, but I mean, Monique, which one are you loving more?
I love this. I love the clean cut. I'm definitely a clean cut girl.
I tell my friends that she fell in love with me again.
As men, there's not a lot of stuff we can do, right? All we can do is choose to shave or not shave. That's pretty much it. And work out, I guess.
I was trying to be like that with my hair. It was only 3 styles of hair I can have, and that's about it, unless I start dumping money into it, and then that wouldn't make sense, because once I shower, it just goes back to what it was. So I was going to spend money on that.
So just to talk about the Arizona Adventure Group. So really, when it started, outside of becoming the Facebook group itself, is about seven years ago.
Okay.
Edgar and I both, we had our boys. They were about, let's say 12 and 10. And going to Disneyland and going to, the cool parks, that wasn't an option for us just because financially feasible. We just weren't in that place in our, time of life. So we had to be creative. And one of the things that we started doing was getting our boys outdoors and exploring a lot of hidden gems across Arizona. And to me, that's a lot more memorable than a Disneyland trip, spending, thousands of dollars to go to Disneyland, which all of the, so we started creating these memories with our boys, and we started finding these hidden gems. So we had a lot of family and friends that said, you guys should really start an adventure group. And I was like, oh, that's just something else I have to maintain. But I did. And in 2016 actually is when we started the birth of Arizona Adventure Group. And it was very slow. We started out with talking to friends, family, coworkers. We're starting this adventure group, started with 800-900 members. I mean, really, that's what our foundation was.
That's a decent size. Just going to throw that out there.
It was strong, but it wasn't overwhelming, right? So it was something that was manageable. And then we started to get into kayaking a lot more. And I do believe, just with some marketing background, that one of the things that I've learned is that you talk, right? So you talk about your group, you talk about, and you network, your group is your life. It becomes your language. So we were just talking and handing out stickers and branding us, right? Because branding's important. So we started branding and just handing out stickers. Everyone loves stickers. Slowly, we started to see some growth. And I would say over the year 2016 to 2000, let's just say 19, our growth was consistent. It was, we didn't really stop. And I think right before the pandemic, we were up to about, I want to say about 9,000, 8,000 members. And then we kind of just stopped. So we were okay with that, still manageable. We had 2 moderators with us at the time. So it was myself, Edgar, and 2 moderators. Then the pandemic hit and everyone wanted to get outside. And we went from 8,000 to 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000. And now we're at about almost to 50,000 members. And I think at the point where it became like, oh my gosh, this is a reality. This is moving. We started to shift our gear with doing more philanthropy work within the community and giving back on ways of saying thank you for being a part of Arizona, because we all share this love for outdoors. We all love to get outside. We love to camp, we love to hike, and how can we give back? So we started to take time and money, the money that we make on our our gear, and give back to Natural Restorations, which is a local nonprofit that does a lot of cleanup and restoration across the state. So slowly we're picking up other nonprofits, which we will, and become more involved more. We work with them, honoring America's veterans as well. We're in support of them and the veterans that they support here in the state. And I know Edgar helps maintain that group. So it's been a blessing. It does keep us busy, and we're always looking for opportunity. I am going to pull out of I really want to shift our mindset from the clothing side, because I didn't create a group to go into creating apparel. Like
Sure.
I'm just, that's not what the foundation of this group is. So I'm going to shift out of that in 2022. And we have some pretty interesting things coming up for 2022. I'm working on a new website development. And then I want to do maybe some mapping and get some geo mapping, do more of things like that. We have a huge hiking challenge that we do in March. And that's across the state. And we have some vendors who are going to be giving away big item things with us this year to encourage people just to get out and hike. And you don't have to be like the, daily hiker, or you don't have to be totally in shape, but it's encouraging people to get out and involved. So, and our proceeds, all of our profits go to Natural Restorations for that as well. So it's a lot of give back what we do. How the group came to where it's at now, I will say that I think handing out the stickers, talking about it. And like I said earlier, it's become our language. We speak it, we sleep it, it's who we are. I mean, Edgar wears his shirts all the time.
And our members have helped where it's at too, just talking about us and the group and
then believing in us and knowing us. Once they know us, they're like, oh, we see these people are real people like us, and they believe in what we believe in, and they listen. We listen to our members. That's key. When you have a big group, listen to what they say, because I mean, that's in any relationship, right? I mean, communication is key in any relationship, and it's a two-way street. So our moderators, I don't want to leave them out, because they have been a huge help with growing the group, having the right people on the team that believe in the same thing, right? It's all a commonality. So it's a huge, it's a lot of people coming together and believing in what you do. That's what helps the growth.
So one of the first questions I wrote down was the word manageable with a question mark, 900 people. And then you just expanded to over 50,000 people. How do you manage that? And then what does it take for someone to say, hey, I'm part of the Arizona Adventure group?
So being a part of a group is not so much like you sign up and you pay, your dues to be a part of the group. Being a part of the group it's funny because it goes along with your brand, the culture, right? The culture is a group. What you have in your culture makes the group. So to be a part of the Arizona Adventure Group is just to be a part of the culture, just be part of, people, the same mindset.
Engage.
Commonality and stuff like that.
Feeling good about what you're a part of. That's what I think what makes a group. And you see that across all areas of life, right? We're a part of a group because we feel accountable to it. We feel like we're a part of something. When we feel a part of something, it brings it closer to our morals as a person. So
for people not in Arizona, the perception can be, there's nothing but cactus, or they'll call them cactuses and desert. So, what are we adventuring with? And, I can only name a few states in the United States where you probably have an abundance of things to do, having not lived in the state. Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, Arizona. I don't know of too many other states. I grew up in Texas, not a lot to do outside of the major cities. What do you think makes Arizona Adventure Group so special in the fact that it's had the ability to grow exponentially in, I would consider, a short amount of time?
I think part of it too has to be with like something that we hear from people that join our pages. Wow, I didn't even know that Arizona had this much stuff to offer.
Exactly.
I look at you guys' pictures and they just think like, oh wow, I wouldn't have never known that there was a waterfall there, or something like that. So I think part of that has to do with that. Just people
bringing Arizona to the page, to Facebook, so people can actually see that there's more to it than cactuses.
Yeah.
Cactuses. And just dirt. Because we hear that a lot and we see that a lot, especially when we meet new members that go on trips with us. Wow, we did not know. We came here from Chicago and we didn't know Arizona had water. I'm like,
yeah,
you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So, hearing that and then them seeing it on the page, like Edgar said, like our social media, then it feeds that frenzy, that appetite, like, oh, we have to explore more. Oh, Sedona. Oh, wow. So I think that Arizona Adventure Group, just the platforms itself, it invites people to see what our state has to offer even more than what they thought,
And a lot of it is not just the pictures. So a lot of it is gonna be like information that helps them even decide like, oh wow, I'm going to that location based off what somebody said there's to do there and all that kind of stuff too. So
I don't know if this is information you guys would even track, but I'm thinking about this listening to your response. Do you think that of your members and your growth, how many of those would you say are, like you, Monique, born and raised, and how many of them are people coming here looking for something to attach to and something to do? And I ask you that because when we first moved here 7 years ago, we were doing everything because it was so new to us, but I don't think, you guys weren't around. And had we latched on to something like that, we probably would still be doing more. I mean, we could always get out and do more. That's not trying to give myself an excuse, but, Arizona's growing like crazy. This area, Phoenix, is growing like crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how much do you think that is attributed to the growth?
In the last year, even like 8 months, we've noticed that a lot of members are moving from out of state. When people join the group, there's 3 to 4 questions that you have to answer. And a lot that we see is, oh, I'm moving from California, or I'm moving from Chicago, or I'm moving from Florida. And so, yeah, so
So in regards to percentage though, what do you think?
Oh, percentage? Oh gosh, we'd have to look at analytics, but we do have like data that shows us like how many members are from Arizona and how many are from everywhere else. I would say about 60%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I just know, like Edgar saying, that there's a lot of inquiries about people, what can we do? We're coming from out of state. So, and we encourage that actually. Our group is not just for Arizona. It started in Arizona. It is in Arizona.
Right.
But we encompass all of the Southwest. So
sure.
People that are coming here, they may have questions, Arizona, California, which we've seen a few. I would say as far as natives, and people that are from Arizona, it's so hard to say because that is just, if we think about it, I'm not sure how fast is Arizona growing. That's what I would say the percentages is for the group. I'd really have to look at those analytics itself.
But then there's the thing where if you're born and raised somewhere, you probably don't care nearly as much as if you're moving to a new place as well.
Yeah.
I grew up in Texas and Dallas area, and we didn't care about clubs or doing anything. Everything was all house parties because that's where you're from, right?
Oh, wow.
But then when you move and then you come back, it's like I'm a tourist in my own town. I'm ready to do anything and everything that I didn't give 2 craps about when I lived there.
You live there, yeah. That's usually how it is.
Do you think North Dakota and Iowa have an adventure group? You don't have to answer that question.
I am not sure, but that's
have you ever been there?
For us to go explore.
Yeah, not a lot to do up there. So you talk about 3 questions to join the group. That makes me think of Facebook. So is this all? The majority of this managed on Facebook? I'm sure you have an actual website because Monique, you said you do have like a revamped one coming.
Yep.
So is this all basically tracked on Facebook at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Facebook and then just Instagram. What we have on there, we have about 25,000 members on Instagram.
That's amazing, especially since I started One Auto in 2016, and I don't think I could name 100 people right now. We had crazy growth, nothing like what you guys are talking about early on, and it was mostly due to my own super crazy hardcore efforts. In your case, you have 2. not to throw people under the bus, but I really felt like it was me after about 6 months.
Mhm.
And then that's why I built the One Auto Council to help me make some of these decisions. And so, first off, thank you for being part of that. And then this weekend, we have coming up on the 6th, One Auto, AZ Adventure Group, Arizona Trek. Tell us about that.
I think it's just bringing the off-road and the street vehicles together, and then the group. Just when we're talking about the cars, knowing that even though we both have different passions as to like what we like off-road vehicles. We like to build our off-road cars to what we like them to look, what we want them to look at the end. And then for street, kind of the same thing, but we have the same commonality. So we have a passion for cars. Right. Doesn't matter what the car looks like or if it's off-road or street. And then for the adventure group, I think just relating to that is getting out somewhere that normally we wouldn't go. It's not like we're going to go there and, or it's not like we're planning, like we're going to like a local bar or anything like that. This is actually like a place that you consider like an adventure. It's got a lot of history, but also you're getting people out to get out of the house and do something that normally you probably wouldn't do. Because we've never done this with the group where we've done like some kind of like a car type event relating to going out on an adventure at the same time. So
yeah, it's kind of like choose your own adventure, right? Because people have the opportunity to either take the street course or the slightly off-road course and meet at the same destination. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really good opportunity to have people kind of meet other people, do some networking. And I could see this in the future, even branching out even more, right? So you have your scenic tour or your scenic road route, your more direct road route, and then various levels of the off-road routes. This could really turn into something really cool as like an annual fall thing.
Yeah, an annual.
Yeah, I already had somebody that commented on one of the posts and was like, "Oh, I can't make it this year, but we'd love to make it next year." And I replied back to, "Oh, you're onto something. We might make this like an annual thing." It already looks like it's going to be a good turnout, but we can definitely see this being like an annual thing, and seeing what else we can add on to make it more fun or something like that. It's already going to be fun anyways, but maybe adding something else, like maybe like pick a charity this time or something like that, do a cruise for charity.
What we could do is a very last minute. I'm going to see if I can throw something together. And, Monique, you kind of touched on this at the very beginning. We should do something, whether it's a last minute sticker or something for the inaugural, and then everybody who shows up gets one. That's usually what I try to do just for the One Auto cruise. But if we could have something that had that on there, that'd be kind of cool.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool to take the two vehicles and do a sticker with that, maybe like in a black and white or something, like a dual off or something.
From the logo, right?
Yeah, that would be dope.
That way we don't have to, spend a lot of time reinventing, and we already have something.
Your template, and then you just go from that. That's a great idea. And who's going to own that? Is that something you're going to own, Jay? You're going to.
I can. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Yes. I'll own that. I'll own that and see if I can get something turned around really quick.
That would be cool.
The more simple the design, the better at this point. So we could literally just reverse negative, black and white that, and throw some stuff on there. And that's just what people are putting on their vehicles for year one. And then year two, it could be something a little more colorful, like your shirt.
That's an excellent idea.
Tell people how to get a hold of you guys. How can they, latch on to Arizona Adventure Group?
Well, through our social media platforms, really. I mean, Facebook, you could find us. The best way to look at the search icon and type in AAG. I would not search for Arizona Adventure Group. I'd search for AAG because we have a lot of others who saw our growth and kind of captured that themselves. So, again, it would be AAG on Facebook, Instagram. We are on TikTok, and I do have an account for us on Twitter.
So on Instagram, is that also AAG or is it Arizona Adventure Group?
Sure is. Yeah, I believe you can find us on AAG. I looked that up for someone yesterday.
Yeah, on Instagram, you do have to write Arizona Adventure Group.
Negative. It's AAG.
Never mind. I guess you can look up AAG.
Yeah, AAG is the way to look for us. Just know it's the acronym for Arizona Adventure Group.
Ag. It's like it's agriculture with an extra A.
Yeah.
Yes.
Monique, Agger, thank you for spending your time with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
See you guys next weekend.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
we will.
see you next weekend.
I look forward to it.
I want to thank Edgar and Monique for coming on the show and talking a little bit about Arizona Adventure Group. If you want to catch up with them, like they said, just search AAG in social media. So if you're actually local to the show and you're in the Phoenix area, Arizona Adventure Group is holding a meet and greet at Arizona Wilderness, which is a brewery in downtown Phoenix. They actually have several locations, but we're talking about the downtown Phoenix location, November 7th, 2 o'clock. I believe it's like 2 to 4, maybe 2 to 6, something like that. 201 East Roosevelt Street in Phoenix, Arizona. I plan to be there. I plan to take my wife there, maybe my son, maybe my son's friend, and hang out, have a couple brews, and learn a little bit more about the magic that these guys have been able to do. I mean, Jesus, 900 to 50,000 people. Just think about that for a second. Think about that for a second for something that is essentially a side hobby. They don't take an income from it. It's just something they do. They connect people, and it's all about the community and the commonality of finding stuff to do with other people. Really excited about the cruise as well on Saturday, kind of the choose your own adventure. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if there's something you want to try to get together in your area, and maybe we can reach out and try to help on behalf of One Auto, or I can connect you with those guys if you want. Want to thank Right Honda out of Scottsdale, Arizona, higher quality detail out of Tempe, Arizona, boosterbath.com, fullonline.com, tonguetreats.com, Cell Shop Wireless Services, and The Credit Mix. Patreon business supporter, Coy Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida. Can't forget my patrons, Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, and Bo Jung. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, you could join for as little as $3 a month, get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. If you're interested in picking up Hard Parking Podcast shirt, you can email the show or send me a direct message on any of the social media platforms you find me. I've been saying this all year, still working on the website. Send me an email, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at jfenning, JHAEPFENNING. Name is on the podcast. Or JTravels, JHAE_travels. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook page. Thank you, everybody who has joined. That thing is growing. I love it. Follow us on YouTube, Hard Parking Media or Hard Parking Podcast. Coming up next week, Kenny Tran of Jotech Motorsports. So if you know someone who is into modifying their GTR, who used to be in the import racing scene way back in the 90s and early 2000s, or has a C8 that you want to modify, this is definitely the episode you want to listen to, or you want to put them on, because I can't grow without you telling the world how great this show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Now it's stripping time.
Shut up!
Hey, this is Levi Epps, hashtag Mr. Financial Freedom of The Credit Mix, here with a special offer for Hard Parking Podcast fans. If you've been living with less than perfect credit for having evictions, late payments, bankruptcies, doesn't matter what it is. If it's something that negatively impacts your credit score and you're not able to get approvals for certain things, or maybe you got to pay large deposits and high interest rates, we don't want that to be you anymore. We have a program that will legally get negative items off of your credit report and keep them off. And we have a special code for a free consultation to see if we can help you. Text HP Credit to 737-4CREDIT. That's HP Credit to 737-427-3348. Let's get you back on the road to financial freedom.
Are you tired of blowing out your back at the bathtub while washing your dog, or subjecting your canine to a water torture bath while leashed up to a post outside? Now there's a far more effective way to wash your pet while saving your back and keeping your dog happy. It's called Booster Bath, a portable bathtub on legs. Head over to boosterbath.com, one word, and pick one up. Available in 3 sizes, this tub system features a drain, a soap cubby, and water controlling wand. This tub conveniently breaks down to be stored when not in use. Want to save 10% on your first time purchase? Head over and sign up today to make that happen. Boosterbath.com. Are you tired of your dog losing its cool in a thunderstorm or fireworks? You might want to look at Tongue Treats. TongueTreats.com. High anxiety relief, pain relief, inflammation relief. It's a direct connection between the tongue and the brain. Doesn't waste time going down to the stomach, where it gets broken down, enters the bloodstream, then to the brain eventually. By then, little Izzy, my dog, has been hiding under the house for like 20 minutes. The Tongue Treat CBD strips provide rapid results for your pet with the right amount of CBD, which is not psychoactive. It's important to test and verify your pet is getting the proper dosage. A single strip should be enough. Have doubts? There's certified analysis from a lab available on the website. Think about it. efficacy, and economy. Tongue treats.